Hey everybody, welcome to Night 2. That's right, the podcast so big we needed 2 nights to cover. The Wrestlemania so big they needed 2 nights to do. I'm Josh, and I am joined once again by Anna. Say hello, Anna.
Hey all.
And joining
Hi,
us, finally, it took forever to get her on the show, but she's finally here. You know her from the Discord chat as PTRP Forever. Welcome, Amber, to the show. How's it going,
Hey
Amber?
guys, where's Ben?
Ben is probably still watching the Ozarks.
Okay, I'll give him a break.
Why is do you watch the Ozarks?
No, I'm just giving him a break just because.
Because you got a break recently?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell
that
people
makes
what
2 of
happened?
About my injury.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I have a 7-month-old named after Mr. Josh here,
That's me.
who decided to grab a full cup of coffee off the entertainment center and proceed to drop it on my pinky toe. And then I had to go to the hospital to verify that, he broke my toe.
Now, I have to ask, knowing you, were you more upset about the toe or the wasted coffee?
The wasted coffee, of course.
I had a feeling that might be what it was. Now, before we get into night 2, any thoughts on night 1? You were supposed to be with us last night, but
I don't think the hospital would have appreciated me being on the phone while they were doing x-rays.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore podcasty guy, and even when I was in the hospital, I couldn't get away with doing a show.
Night 1, I had to actually go back and rewatch the Becky Lynch Baszler fight because somehow I missed it even though I was watching. So it couldn't have been that good because I missed it even though I watched the whole thing. I have to agree, it went 5 minutes too long. They probably should have ended it sooner. Why does Natty always have to lose? She deserves better than that. That's what I got to say about night 1.
Okay. Now that we're all caught up with night 1 and we have everybody's opinions, let's go into night 2. It was another night of WrestleMania, something that's never been done before, although New Japan has been, breaking their events into different nights for years. I guess it was just about time for WrestleMania to do it. There's been rumors that they were going to do it for years, but the pandemic, maybe that's what really made them decide to pull the trigger on everything once and for all. And
can I just say that I'm pissed off at the pandemic? We were supposed to be there.
We were supposed to be there.
I'm going to mail you your hologram ticket, by the way, just as memorabilia of the event we missed.
The event that never happened. It's going to be worth a fortune one day.
Yeah. Damn pandemic. Ruin everything.
Damn demic.
So, that's all I have to say about that. But it is really nifty. It's a very nifty hologram ticket.
I can't wait to see it. And look forward to actually getting some mail, physical mail. And that's really exciting too. Mail that doesn't say that I owe them money would be a plus.
It'll be back in the days when we got mail from our parents being stuck at PTRP.
Yeah. All sorts of weird mail. But you know what? Ben and I have been talking about doing a show to cover those kinds of topics in our time at PTRP and Fort Jackson. And hopefully you'll want to, hop on that one too.
Well, if we're going to do that, we got to bust out the whole crew.
Definitely try to get as many people as possible.
I don't know if you saw this. Apparently Anna cannot hear us. I
did see that.
You're the man on fixing stuff.
Anna, try dropping out of the call and popping in again. Why am I telling you this? Because you can't hear me. It makes no sense.
Go, Josh, go. So smart.
Okay. While we wait for Anna, we can talk about. How about Anna? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right,
hear
good.
me now?
All right, Anna. Pre-show, match 1, Liv Morgan, Natalia. What'd you think?
I always like watching Natty wrestle. I've been a fan of Natty for years, but I'm not overly familiar with Liv, but it was an alright match.
It was garbage.
I said alright. I was trying to be nice.
It was garbage. You can't use Natty on WrestleMania to try and put Liv Morgan over. She hasn't been over even after she did her little "I'm coming back better than ever, you'll see" crybaby thing.
When they gave her the Emelina gimmick?
Yep. Natty deserves better.
Yeah, I'd say Natty deserves to always be in a big-time match at Mania. She's definitely put in her time. She's got the skills in every way. But right now, she's not the, I don't want to say young superstar, because that implies that she's old, and she's not. But
what needs to happen is Bev Phoenix needs to come back as the Glamazon, and they need to just annihilate the tag team division.
That would be, I think, a great run, great use for both Beth and Natalia. Now that
That's
Natalia's
my
just
opinion.
here Natalia's basically around to make people look good and give them good matches.
She's all gimmicky again.
What's that?
She's all gimmicky again, like when she was, farting.
Yeah, but she's a good company player. Yeah. She'll do anything that's asked of her.
But she deserves to go out on a high note, not this pre-show nonsense.
I think before she leaves, she is going to have a really good run with at least some title. And it would be nice. It would be with, like you said, Beth Phoenix doing the tag team division, just laying them all out.
I would definitely enjoy that.
That's my hope.
Now, I will say this about Liv Morgan. On a personal level, she's very sweet. I've told the story on the show a couple times. Ran into her ringside at NXT Jacksonville. And she was very patient with me as I figured out how to use my phone to take pictures of her with my kids. And I'll always appreciate that. And I should put the picture somewhere, but I'm not really big on posting my pictures of my kids online, to be honest. So that was
there.
What's that?
I'm with you there. There's too many pervs that would be looking at the pictures of my kids. So
yeah, especially I have 3 daughters.
Create a Facebook group. That's what I did with the oldest. And as you can see, Josh's pictures haven't been put on the internet, period.
I've noticed. But I also know my inbox is filled with them, so it's all good.
Yeah. It's because you're the godfather. I got to send you the pictures.
And I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
So, Josh?
Yes.
You didn't know how to take pictures with your phone?
I didn't want to say it. Thank you.
I was hoping that would be looked over too, to be honest. It was on video, and I didn't notice, so I actually do have a video of my kids and Liv just kind of like standing there, smiling, and I'm like, it's not taking a picture. Oh, and then I switch it over and get the picture.
Did you miss me, Josh?
Of course, Anna. Never one to overlook a point, are we? So moving on to WrestleMania proper, as the show kicks off, Rob Gronkowski and whatnot. We'll just go straight to the match. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship. Charlotte going for the NXT title and winning it. What does this mean? Is Charlotte going to NXT? Is she going to be bringing the NXT title to Raw?
She's going to play both brands for rating purposes.
Now, I did read a story earlier today that Rhea Ripley, her work visa expired, and she had to go back to Australia. So that could have been an influence in the decision to drop the title to her. But that's just, something I heard. I haven't really had anything confirmed. Ben would be the one with, I got a phone call from a reliable source. And he says that Rhea Ripley, and he'd start doing his Ben thing. But Ben is, you might have noticed, not here tonight on episode 186. I'm calling this 186.5 since it's not a proper 187. So what do you think about Charlotte winning the title? Amber, you go first.
I felt bad, to be honest. I felt like Rhea should have had a longer run. She deserved a longer run. I mean, she was a workhorse for NXT, and when she got it, it was a big deal. Chopping Shayna Baszler off and getting that, to lose it, 2 pay-per-views later? It kind of lessens the importance of her beating Baszler. But you can't beat the queen. She doesn't have the titties for it.
Okay, that's an interesting point, and maybe fair considering, Charlotte worked on that aspect a while back. Anna, what do you think?
I was upset that Rhea lost. I don't understand why Charlotte is going to NXT. She's been in the company for years. I still kind of see NXT as, the up-and-comers, even though it's kind of come into its own.
Yeah, that's certainly a fact that NXT has. I mean, it's gotten so successful that it has its own slot on the USA Network.
And the reason why is the power rating against AEW. They need the big titties.
Okay, that's absolutely fair. Using Charlotte to wage war.
Balor. They brought back Balor to compete against the ratings. Right? The ratings started going up, and then they're like, we're still not beating the numbers. How do we beat the numbers? You bring in the titties.
Again, fair assessment from Amber. That's sex appeal always is a surefire way to bring up some numbers.
I would have. I mean, if we're going, I would have put I don't know, not Charlotte.
Who do you pick?
That's what I'm trying to think. I mean, personally, if we're going by our personal preferences and, what we find individually to be appealing, can't go wrong with Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a Mickie James kind of lady, so.
I like Mickie too.
Mickey's been my lady since the beginning.
She was my original wrestling crush right there. Just the Trishes of the world didn't do it for me. I wasn't just the whole tall blonde thing. Just
I almost would have liked to have seen Beth stand up from behind the announce table and made it like a triple threat match between Charlotte, Beth, and Rhea.
So is Charlotte, do you think Charlotte does have the star power to move the needle?
I think she does for the demographic they need her to.
So you think the fellas are gonna switch over?
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out Wednesday when NXT and AEW go once again head to head with their own pre-recorded empty arena shows, and we'll probably talk more about that on episode 187 of the Backstage Slam.
It's going to be kind of hard to gauge, though, with these, pre-recorded empty arena shows. Honestly, because you don't have the fanfare, right?
Right.
You don't have the demographic screaming, and going, woo, over and over again about her titties. So, can we really gauge how well she does, or if she's moving the needle well enough? I don't know. I think when things kind of get back to normal, that's when Vince will kind of make the decision if she stays on both brands or if she drops the title.
I think at the earliest we'll know Thursday if anything's changed. At the latest, maybe by the end of the month we'll notice if something's changed, depending on what the shooting schedule is going to be. Right now, I don't know how they're shooting everything. I do know that the Raw from last night was actually recorded before WrestleMania, which I found a little odd. But as far as Charlotte winning the title, beating Rhea, I third everybody's emotion that Rhea should have probably held on to the title longer. It just seems like the WWE in general doesn't like to push anybody from an NXT for too long, as we saw with Shayna Baszler.
She had that shit for a year.
And
if you count both runs.
And went down to Becky.
Josh. I just like Rhea more than I've ever really liked Charlotte, and she lost the title to Charlotte.
When Ben and I first started doing this, and when Charlotte, came up, I predicted that Charlotte would have a ton of short runs. And Ben kind of guffawed a little bit. He didn't doubt me, but there was maybe just a teeny bit of doubt there. And I said, look, women don't last as long in wrestling as men. I think Mickie James is the exception to the rule. And by the way, she looks just as good, if not better, than she ever has.
She was gone for a while, though, too.
She wasn't gone. She was with TNA.
Oh. Well, she wasn't on WWE, is what I mean.
No.
And she's been gone because she had her legs fixed.
And didn't she just released an album, too, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's also a country singer.
So, the thing with Charlotte and her short runs is that she's going to be the one that breaks Daddy's record. That's why she's having all these short runs with the titles.
And that's exactly what I said. She is going to be the Rick of the women's division. The most championships ever. And she doesn't have as much time to do it.
And now she's the only woman to have held both the old and new NXT Women's Championships.
We'll see how that, how important that is in when it's all said and done. When she wraps up her career, what kind of feather in her cap that's going to be. But until then, we still have a lot more WrestleMania to cover. So, in a match that I speak for myself when I say, huh? Or, meh. Aleister Black took on Bobby Lashley and defeated him for some reason. I have no idea why. What was the point of this match? Can anybody tell me what the point of this match was?
To cause problems between him and Lana.
Yeah, but they could have done that in so many other ways. Why utilize Aleister for that? Why not give Aleister a good story?
They didn't have time. It was like 2 days before WrestleMania, but now they can give him a good push because he beat the almighty Bobby Lashley.
But is that really a big deal?
No.
Didn't Rusev just do that handily and then disappear?
I believe so, yes.
You know, Lana's actual husband.
But he did it at WrestleMania. Rusev did not, so...
Fair point.
It's more important. He went on the show of shows with no audience.
In 7 minutes and 20 seconds, Charlotte and Rhea, for what we say about, how we disagree with who might have, who won, they went 20 minutes plus, and they had a good match. Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley put in a position to, I don't know, that there was no real build-up. It was just a match that was there. And if there was a crowd there, I don't know how they would have reacted.
Shinsuke is going to be the one that knocks next, though.
See, that would be a hell of a match and a hell of a feud, and I would love to see that.
So I read that today, and when I was checking up to try and figure out the other matches, was that Shinsuke is going to be the one that knocks next.
Anybody want to add something about Aleister and Bobby before we move on? I got nothing. I'm tapped out on that one.
I know Aleister's capable of going much, much longer, and I thought with someone at least relatively close to his size, it should have lasted longer.
Bobby blew his load early.
I'm starting to wonder if I'm going to need to put the explicit tag on this show or not. So, like everybody, we're just going to leave this match behind us and forget it ever happened. And move on to...
And I like Aleister, too.
Yeah, Aleister's great. Tommy End, great. Match number 4, Anna. It's a match I know you were extremely looking forward to. As Otis took on Dolph Ziggler.
I love me some Otis. And I had predicted, actually, that it was Sonya involved. I didn't know how much Dolph was involved with that text message, but I knew it was Sonya that sent it. That came out Friday night, and I'm just like, why do I have to wait till Sunday for this payoff? And the whole match, I'm like, where's Mandy? Where's Mandy? Where the hell is Mandy? Oh, there she is. I was so happy that he beat the ever-loving snot out of Dolph. Anything else?
I could have done without the sweaty smooch, but hey, he got the girl, so...
That was so cute. I'm like, kiss her, just... And I, screamed in my kitchen.
Yeah, Corey Graves had, an aneurysm saying that. He's like, Mandy, no. Because, whenever he's on commentary, Mandy comes out. He's like, we have been blessed with a gift from the gods, Mandy Rose.
And then she plants one on Otis.
Oh, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
I know. He was so sweet. He, swooped her up and then set her down so gently and stepped on the bottom rope and then carried her out. It was so sweet.
Do you agree with the sentiment, Amber?
See, it brings back some PTSD memories for me, seeing a big sweaty guy. My very first wrestling event I went to when I was a kid, I was hoping to get a handshake from Macho Man Randy Savage, and instead I got touched by Earthquake and Tugboat.
By both of the natural disasters?
Yes. It was just too much.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to follow
That's
up
how long
on
I've
that.
been a fan. So, seeing that, I was like, oh, he got the girl. Ew, gross.
They're just so adorable and awkward, and he's just so goofy and nervous, and it's just too cute.
I'm glad that they split them up because they weren't really going anywhere, and this is going to be an interesting individual feud between those two.
I definitely enjoyed watching Mandy smack Dolph in the nuts. That was so enjoyable for me.
My issue with that, I mean, it was the right move, especially since he gave Otis a nice kick to the family jewels moments earlier, but just the execution of it seemed sloppy in my opinion. And my thought was, there's no crowd. They can do as many takes as they need to make this look awesome. And
she only got him in the left nut.
Yeah. What happened? Where was the home run punch, right? Was that really the best one?
They probably could have used a better angle, and I would have thoroughly enjoyed, a few more minutes of watching her bash Sonya's face into the floor. I could that.
Well, knowing WWE, you'll have a solid 6 months of Mandy Rose bashing Sonya's face in the floor.
I'm okay with that.
They just don't know when enough is enough when it comes to a feud.
I can live vicariously through Mandy and just imagine that it's me doing it to someone else. I'm good. It can last as long as it wants.
You hear that, Vince? You found a winner of a storyline with Anna Hira. And she's telling you to keep up the good work. In the meantime, we're going to go to a match where I hear Dave Meltzer gave it 1 star. And that was the 36.5-minute last man standing match with Edge and Randy Orton.
1 star? That's all he gave it? What a douchebag.
Said it was long and boring and something and something.
I have to agree. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and we're just like, I get that there's no crowd, but like punch, stumble down the hallway. Punch, stumble down the hallway. It's like after the second bump, the count started. It's like, wait, you have 2 veterans in Edge and Randy Orton, and the second bump, he's down for the count. I'm like, this is not any last man standing match I've ever seen.
They're both old as dirt.
I mean, do we have to say dirt? Let's see. Adam Copeland is 46.
In wrestling years, they're old as dirt.
Tell that to Taker.
He is the dirt.
Jesus Christ.
Randall Keith Orton is 40 years old.
Aside from how long the match lasted, where, I did like watching Edge play Spider-Man. That was interesting. I didn't think those greats could hold people. Should have known that.
While it's generally agreed that the match went on too long, do you think it deserved a 1-star rating? A bottom of the barrel, this is the worst thing ever type of rating?
No.
No.
The only thing that I thought was in bad taste was wrapping the rope around his neck.
Yeah, I was going to
And
get
the
that. Did you
only
get shades of, the Benoit murder suicide in that?
well, that's because I watched it, right? So I watched the Dark Side of the Ring episode. I watched that one shortly before this match, and so like my mind went there, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a little bit of bad taste."
I agree that was weird. I watched the same thing like 2 weeks ago, like when it first dropped. But I'm not even sure I noticed that happen. I may have looked away from my phone temporarily.
Okay, do you think they put this spot together with Benoit in mind to be edgy, or do you think it was kind of a coincidence?
I think it was just what was near or what was closest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them doing it intentionally because of the uh Vince isn't that like grossly negligent. I think it was just here, this is something close in hand. Like the whole Twitter from Edge to Beth about not doing any more. Like she told him, you're not doing any more ladder matches or anything involving ladders, and that's why he climbed up next to the ladder and didn't use the ladder, but still jumped from the height of the ladder, and said, just trying something different. I'm sorry. So, he's still himself, and he's trying to appease his wife but he still has to be himself by doing these crazy ass things that are possibly going to, paralyze his dumbass.
I was honestly surprised that he came back. Like, I freaked out during Rumble, and I'm just like, wait, that can't be. Holy shit, it is. Like, I thought it was going to be just a quick in and out so he couldn't possibly get hurt. Dude lasted to what, third?
Yeah.
Like,
There were rumors swirling around that he was cleared to wrestle, and he kept denying him and said, no, that's crazy. I'm retired. The doctor said if I do it again, I could die. And there were rumors swirling that he was going to be at Rumble, and he started taking pictures of himself very far away from the side of the Rumble. And then, of course, at the last minute, hopped on a plane and flew to the arena where he was, kept under wraps, and the only people that knew he was going out were the ones directly involved. And it was, yes, it was a very big surprise for a lot of people. But there was something about the way the denials kept coming, like, yeah, something's fishy here.
yeah, most don't do more than, just one denial and then let it drop.
But they were in full, no, this isn't happening. Stop saying it's going to happen, because it's not going to happen. Stop it.
That's suspicious.
That's just when you know it's gonna happen, is when they keep talking about it.
So he made his re-debut.
I think it was a good match, though. I think they made each other look good.
I do too, and I think Edge, for as dangerous as some of the stuff looked at times, I think he was incredibly protected. And you know what? Quite frankly, this whole no audience thing could have been a blessing in disguise for him, because, as I said before, they had tons of opportunities to make things look more brutal, yet be as safe as possible with editing and camera tricks and whatnot.
I totally saw
Yeah,
the gym mats
and
under
talking
there.
to my buddy, I'm like, Edge's neck. I was so worried about his neck, and he's like, if you look closely, he doesn't actually ever really land on his neck.
It's like when Daniel Bryan, before he was cleared to wrestle, he said that he was developing a new way to take bumps. He was creating a new style from scratch so he wouldn't have to hit his head.
Makes sense.
And it's working for him so far. He's been, the top guy again with the cardboard belt. Yeah, I remember that. It was actually hemp, though, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah?
Yeah, his whole vegan thing.
There's a guy that lives the gimmick. We don't really see a whole lot of that anymore. And it's weird, just to go off on a tangent here for a bit, that the guy that wants to save the planet is the bad guy.
Whatever, his daughter's gonna eat a big-ass juicy raw steak and hurt his feelings.
Actually, I believe he went back to eating meat.
Oh, sweet. It's better for the child.
I think it was because it wasn't, like, the no meat diet wasn't agreeing with, he just couldn't keep up.
See, that I hadn't heard about that. It'd be interesting. If we had Daniel Bryan on the show, we could talk to him about it, but we aren't there yet. Where we are is the Street Profits taking on Angel Garza and Austin Theory for the Raw Tag Team Championships.
I think Austin Theory needs to get kicked in his family jewels.
It'll happen eventually.
Especially when, like, his partner is the one that makes sure he doesn't land on the ground. This asshole moved out of the way again. You saw it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that he wouldn't land on him. And his partner had to make sure that, like, he had somewhat of a soft landing with that belly of his. Like, that's a dick move. He's gonna get somebody hurt playing like that.
How do you feel about four of, we'll call them the WWE's young guns. Four of the younger and quite frankly more green players. I know there's some indie experience in the ring, but I'm talking about on the big stage. WrestleMania of all time is a place to prove yourself in a Raw Tag Team Championship match. How do you feel about the young guys taking over for this spot?
I think they did a good job, and I'm so glad that Bianca Belair got her chance to whoop that ass.
Anna? Is the cat doing something?
I think it was pretty good. Like, I'm not horrible because they're newer. I'm not really all that familiar with, like, their styles and stuff like that. But I don't really have any issue with, like, the greener ones getting into, like, the tag team championship. Now, if one of them was to say, walk in and be Brock Lesnar, that I would probably have an issue with.
Okay,
because they hadn't worked up to it.
And they were given 6 minutes and 20 seconds to basically wow everybody, and I think they filled the time pretty well. They got in, got out, did their thing, and kind of escalated their spot just a bit. People should remember who they are, and if they follow up with some strong competitive matches afterwards, I think everybody in this match should be better off.
Yeah.
Here's a interesting fact. Women in WrestleMania Night 2 had 45 minutes of the card to themselves, roughly. Between the three women's matches, 45 minutes. You two are women. How does it feel to see that they're getting time now compared to, say, a decade ago where, I mean, truth be told, the women's match was the bathroom match. Come on, speak for your gender.
That, Josh.
Be representative. No?
Well,
I'm very much, if
you
want the time, earn it. so it doesn't really matter to me if it's male, female, clown, dinosaur, whatever.
Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and What's Her Nuts main evented last year. So 40 minutes of an entire 2-day show or 45 minutes main eventing. Like, I think it's a step down. And I'm going to keep calling her What's Her Nuts because I feel like one day I'm going to punch her in the boob.
Well,
which one?
Let's see. Out of the 2 nights, it was roughly 45 minutes for night 2. Let's see.
Think about it. Main event, 35.
70.
The women had the majority of the matches on 35. So it was a step down.
They had roughly 70 minutes worth of match time over the 2 nights.
But it was still a step down from 35.
Let's see, 35. Going back to that card. Finding it. We
You should have it in your memory.
Carmella and the 17-woman Wrestlemania Women's Battle Royale. And that was 10 minutes. And that was the pre-show at that. Carmella and Sarah Logan. Oh, wait, Carmella, she won. That was the Battle Royale. That was 10 minutes. 10 and a half. The Iconics went almost 11 minutes in their Fatal 4-Way Tag Team. And the main event. So they had 40 minutes of last year's show, but they did have 3 spots out of the 16. I'd say it's pretty comparable between last year and this year.
I would say comparable, but not when you think about the extent of how hard it must have been for Vince to have women headline a WrestleMania. Because I would have bet my bottom dollar that would have never happened in my lifetime.
Personally,
I
I think
agree
he just
there.
put all of his money on the Ronda Rousey factor. The queen of...
Don't speak her
pay-per-view.
name. I'm going to punch you in the boob.
I take it she's not a Ronda fan.
I'll punch you in the boob, too.
I'll behave since we're on air, but...
Lousy Rousey.
Yeah, you would be right.
She
Amber's
doesn't.
not a fan of She Who Shall Not Be Named.
Few of those going around, I see.
But speaking of, like I said, the women, Bayley took on Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina in a fatal 5-way elimination match for the women's tag team, or the SmackDown Women's Championship. Just shy of 20 minutes, Bayley defeated them all. Well, not all of them, but she won the match.
Compared to some of them, Bayley didn't do shit, and I hate to say that, my bad.
She didn't.
No, she didn't.
By the way,
I was hoping Sasha was just gonna whoop that ass.
I thought it was going to come down to Sasha and Bayley, and Sasha was going to turn on her.
If I'm reading this right, the first one taken out was Tamina.
Yeah.
And it took all 4 of them to do it.
Cheaters. Took all of them to do it.
She went out at the 6:35 mark. Naomi was taken out by Sasha Banks via submission at the 10:20 mark. And then Sasha Banks was taken out by Lacey Evans at the 13:25 mark. And then, of course, Lacey Evans was defeated by Bayley at 19:20. And for you long-time listeners, you know what's about to happen. Because the champion is Bayley. Had that evil growl since she turned.
I haven't liked Bailey since she turned. I like my cuddly, huggy Bailey, and I want her back.
You know, my youngest, she's 9 now. Huge fan of Bailey. Big fan. I always said Bailey should be the Hulk Hogan of modern WWE because she's the one that can be on cartoons. And she's the one, like the New Day, could have a cereal and have all the little kids just adore her.
Yes.
And that should have been hers, the one the marketing team really got behind. Because one of my youngest child's prized possessions for a long time was the Bailey Bear. She loved that bear. And it was because she knew, because she was told, that every Bailey Bear was hugged personally by Bailey.
Aww.
And when she would hug it, she would just say it's like hugging Bailey. And that, of course, it melted me. I became a huge fan. And this was, NXT, well, the Bailey Bear wasn't, but, the whole hugger thing from NXT, and then the bear came out later on. It was enough to make a dad's heart melt. And then
you just made me melt, and I'm cold as ice right now.
Well, it wasn't what I was going for, but she hadn't been watching for a minute because, school, bedtimes, and whatnot. But WrestleMania was on, and she was sitting there with me, and she saw Bailey, and I swear to you, her reaction was, "Oh no!" Because the side pony was gone. The ribbons were gone. The bright colors were gone. Bailey was grown up, and she was back. And she didn't care for it because her hero turned her back on her, and it was heartbreaking. And the really big problem that I have with that I have with WWE on a professional company level is they never capitalized on making this as big as Hogan joins the NWO. There wasn't as much emotional investment for anybody but the little kids.
Yeah, and me.
Fair. It was just such a wasted opportunity, and I'm glad she's still champion. The half of the four horsewomen of NXT are still leading the charge in the WWE Women's Division, and I should say 3/4, even though one of them is now back at NXT. I guess we'll find out. Sasha's kind of the odd man out here, but as far as the match itself, any thoughts?
It was okay.
I got nothing. The boss should have turned and slapped that bitch.
Anna?
I thought she was going to, and when Bailey accidentally bumped her, and Sasha started mouthing off, and I'm like, oh, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Aww.
I mean, personally, I kind of don't want to see them turn on each other because we've seen those matches so many times. I would think it would be more. They
apparently had a feud 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it lasted for 2 years. It seemed that way anyway.
If it brings back good Bailey, I'll be okay with it.
You know what? I could be down with that. Sasha should never be a babyface. She is, the legit boss,
Yep.
and she should not be cheered.
No.
She needs to have the swagger all the time.
Yep.
But Bailey, that's what one of the things that made their friendship so cool, in my opinion. That the fact that Bailey was a huggable, lovable nerd about wrestling, and Sasha was Sasha, but they were friends. Like the cool kid in school being friend with the president of the AV club.
Are you talking about yourself now, Josh?
Maybe. I did jump clicks a lot back in the day. What can I say? I was a chameleon. Well, here's the thing, though. With 2 shows left on the main card, one of them's worth talking about, and we're getting to that right now. The Fiend Bray Wyatt took on John Cena in a Firefly Funhouse match, and I gotta say, the only reason I know Bray Wyatt won is because that's what the result sheet is telling me. I wasn't really sure that there was an actual winner of the match.
Yeah, I didn't know it either.
But I'll kick things off. Man, that was great. The Firefly Funhouse match was great. And it was great for all of the reasons that are opposite of what made the Boneyard match great. Because if the Boneyard match was, we'll say, what's a good director, kind of horror action director? Sam Raimi?
Yeah, Raimi, Romero, any of those.
We'll say the Boneyard match was like a Raimi joint, and the Firefly Funhouse was like David Lynch. It was a retrospective of the career of John Cena, as we got to see things like ruthless aggression John Cena. We got to see the Doctor of Thugonomics. We got to see, for some reason, an NWO John Cena. And Bray Wyatt just kind of like doing his commentary, being a part of all of these memories, playing the part of Kurt Angle calling out John Cena in an open challenge. He was playing the part of Eric Bischoff. He was leading John Cena through the past. And I have to say, okay, I gotta say, having the Mercy and Vince McMahon puppets behind the commentary table was beautiful. John Cena getting a Husky Harris mention off in the promo as Doctor of Thugonomics John Cena, that was priceless. And the only thing that I think they were missing, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was the original idea, John Cena literally facing off against himself. Maybe they didn't have the budget to do the doppelganger, Cena with the CGI or whatever they would need. But I thought it was great. And if this is the kind of thing that we can look forward to as far as creativity goes, the WWE is hitting a home run with their cinematic, quote unquote, matches.
So then let me ask
you
you this. Is John Cena the overhyped, overprivileged, over whatever that he made the promo about going into the match against Bray? Also, who else caught the John Moxley jab from Puppet Vince? That was awesome. If he's the overhyped villain and Bray Wyatt was the one to squash him, Is this his retirement match?
No, I don't think it's a retirement by any means. In fact, I don't think this is even the last time these two are going to face off. But I will say this. Well, I was going to say it, but I don't remember what it was. Okay, I remember now. I think what really came off of, you asked, is John Cena, how did you put it?
The overhyped, overprivileged, whatever thing that he said in the promo about Bray.
I think the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me if he is the humble hero for all of the boys and girls, I'd also say yes. And I think what we really learned here is John Cena is anything you need him to be. Because whether or not you love him, he'll play into that. Whether or not you hate him, he'll play into that. But he is everything. And at the same time, doesn't change. He is a constant and will let people feel whatever they want about him. What do y'all think about that?
I didn't need the 20-year retrospective into John Cena's career. I was bored. Like, I've kind of fallen out with Cena anyways, so him coming and doing the whole WrestleMania is going to have to go on without me, boo-hoo. It's like, dude, get out. You didn't have to come out here and tell us you weren't going to be at WrestleMania. Just don't be at WrestleMania. The show will go on. It's okay. But I also, know things about Cena, so I just don't like him as a person.
What about you, Amber? How do you feel about John Cena? How do you feel about the match?
He's done a lot of things for Make-A-Wish, so I'll give him that. It was kind of an interesting throwback to the John Cena in tights, not on steroids, with the Kurt Angle.
By the way, John Cena, don't believe he's ever taken steroids.
Oh, come on. You don't get that big that fast when you look at him from Ruthless Aggression till now.
Do you know what he was known for before becoming a wrestler?
Being a douche.
Wasn't he like a pizza delivery boy or something?
Yeah, he was a bodybuilder that specialized in clean bodybuilding. He straight up no steroids, just they did a lot of
you
honestly
believe that he got that big from orange tights, Ruthless Aggression, to veins popping out of even his forehead without any help?
I do.
Josh, you need some help.
I do. I'm going to put a picture in the chat.
Ask the chat who all thinks that John Cena is not on steroids. I do not believe that he is clean. Come on. He looks... There's no way during the time where Vince was okay and basically roiding everybody up himself.
Take a look at that picture. It's pretty WWE.
Now I have to open it back up.
Do you just have random pictures of, Ew.
If it's a picture of his dick, I'm gonna kill you.
Close.
How do I look at it?
That is quite visible.
Huh.
You might want that explicit warning, John.
Only you can see this.
No, I meant on the podcast.
You know what? I actually think I might do that.
I've tried to behave. Do you know how hard that is for me?
Yes, I do.
I have no filter. Sorry.
I knew that too. That's why the explicit button is ready to go.
What is with the mohawk and really horrible spray tan?
It was the early 2000s, and things were weird.
That's putting it mildly. And
But he
I'm
has
sorry,
no
I
neck
think he needs
now.
bigger undies.
He has no neck now. I think maybe back then he was known for the clean bodybuilding. I don't think after his first injury and timeout he would be known for clean muscle building. His injury, he's supposed to be out, what was it, year and a half? And he came back for the Royal Rumble like 6-8 months later. You don't magically heal like that without putting shit into your body that shouldn't be there.
There hasn't been any link to John Cena and steroids over the years.
That's because nobody's had the cojones to say it. I do. Maybe that's why him and the Bella broke up, because he has shriveled up his little wiener from all the steroid use.
No. Look up on YouTube insane rules that John Cena made her follow. It's horrifying.
It could also be because he killed off his swimmers from steroid use.
It's unfriggin' believable the shit he put her through.
It's like, I don't want to have any kids. That's because he can't have any.
I think the worst thing he ever did was make us sit through that marriage proposal.
Right?
You'll never convince me otherwise. That is the worst thing he's ever done in his life.
I think
watch that video I told you about.
What video? Now I want to know.
Rules that John Cena made Nikki Bella follow. It's on YouTube.
Okay, I'll look it up. As far as the match goes, I still think Taker, AJ Styles, they take the cake on
cinematic presentation.
Yeah, cinematic presentation. But it was well done. The puppets were nice.
The inside jokes.
Yeah, the puppets were nice. I still don't understand the NWO thing, though, because he wasn't part of NWO.
Yeah, that threw me, too. It's like, why is the whole Eric Bischoff thing, NWO, a lot of it didn't make any sense.
I'm going to have to, and I never thought I'd have to say this about a wrestling match. I'm going to have to find some really good articles of dissecting the psychology of that match.
Good luck. I don't think it was supposed to make sense because, Bray Wyatt.
Fair. And before we move on, I have to say that we did see the former Bray Wyatt, the cult leader Bray Wyatt, for just a moment.
That was cool.
But we didn't get to see Husky Harris.
Probably not a thing he wanted to return to.
I can see why that would want to be forgotten. That guy. We are going to roll on to the main event. The match that lasted twice as long as Braun Strowman Goldberg, with, I guess, the same style. Drew McIntyre took on Brock Lesnar to fight for the WWE Championship. And Drew McIntyre defeated Brock Lesnar and became the WWE champion. Anna, I'm gonna hold off on calling on you because I don't need you screaming into the microphone about how much you love Drew right this second. So,
Wasn't gonna do that.
I'd just call it a hunch. Amber, Drew's the new champion, but there was no WrestleMania pop. Sad face. What do you think?
I think it was a long time coming, long time deserved. He was handpicked to be the chosen one by Vince a long time ago. I think it was kind of a crappy way to go down. What was it? 3 German suplexes, 2 F5s, and 3 Claymore?
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Typical Brock Lesnar match.
Yep.
Except the shoe was on the other foot after a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I think I absolutely agree with you, Amber. It's Drew's time. It was building up to this. It hit ahead at WrestleMania, and that's what it was all built for. That's what the show was built for, to be the crowning moment of glory for Drew McIntyre. Again, shame he didn't get that big crowd pop for the WrestleMania moment, but as I was reading his face holding the title, it didn't seem to matter to him at all that there was nobody there to chant his name. He was just happy to be there holding the title, knowing that he was the champion. And yeah, it didn't go 5 minutes, but it was pretty cool seeing Brock get thrown around for once. Anna, feel free to gush.
I don't know what you're talking about. But Drew won the freaking title. I was a little worried because who kicks out of that many F5s?
John Cena did.
Besides Cena. Because be damned if you can actually keep Cena down. I don't know. Steroids. It's gotta be steroids.
I told you, it's the roids.
But
I'd be more inclined to believe that Charlotte was injecting rather than Cena.
Well, we
But,
all know
okay.
Brock is.
I almost think I would have been happy if anybody had beaten Brock, because it would mean no more part-time champion, no more seeing a champion 3 times a year. The belt would actually be back into play.
Now, let me ask you about that. There is always the discussion that when Brock Lesnar's champion, it's a part-time championship because he's a part-time player. Barring the defenses, putting that to the side, say he still only defended the title between 4 and 6 times a year. Would you feel better about his championship reign if not showed up to Raw on a more regular basis, but maybe had more video packages on Raw on a more regular basis, just a presence? Would that make up for the fewer title defenses?
Not really, because, you should still... Okay, you don't have to be there every week, but you should still have... The option should be there for somebody to take your belt. It shouldn't be, you can only get it at Mania or SummerSlam or Royal Rumble. You should essentially be able to get any title at any time.
Now, if
Brock's ass ain't there, you can't get his title.
It's really kind of a throwback way of doing things. When back in the day, big title matches were less than a handful of times a year. And there were times when people not only held on to a championship for for months, but for years.
Years.
And not
I've
just like
heard
a
about
year
that.
or two, but let's see.
And I don't agree with that. Because essentially everyone is working towards a chance at the title, right?
That's supposed to be what everybody in the business is working for.
Yeah, they're working for a title. Well, wouldn't you work harder for a title that you might be able to get, a shot at next week rather than a title you're going to get a shot at 6 months from now? Rather than work towards, like, the title that Brock had, they might, turn around and go after, say, the Intercontinental title. Because that one's in play more often. Or was that the one Brock had?
No,
Which one did
Brock
Drew
had the
win?
Universal
That's terrible.
Championship for a while. The one he just defended was the standard WWE Championship.
Okay. So, Brock's only in play a couple of times a year. You're going to work harder for the title you can go after each week, or
The 24/7, 52 days, 64
oh my god,
hours.
that thing is so dumb.
R-Truth is the man.
Yeah, for
Why-
a while,
I
it was the most
said-
creative thing on the show, and it blew my mind.
I love R-Truth. There was a while I didn't like him, but like Drew, back to Drew tangent. Sorry, my bad. Like, I legit almost cried, especially when he thanked everybody and waved at the camera. That boy came out my heart. He made me do it, Josh.
Well, I'm going to read off some stats for you. It's from ESPN.com. It's the WWE's longest title reigns, and this is as of December 2016. It was just the first thing that popped up, so I went with it. The Honky Tonk Man, 454 days as Intercontinental Champion. Demolition, 478 days as Tag Team Champions. The New Day, 483 days as Tag Team Champions. By the way, for those that don't know, I am the fourth member of the New Day. We just haven't been bringing it up very often.
See, the thing is, though, the New Day, that whole title reign, they defended it more than 4 times a year.
They did, but I said this is the top 10. Rockin' Robin, 502 days as Women's Champion.
I don't even know who that is.
Pedro Morales, 1,027 days as Heavyweight Champion.
That's insane. I don't agree with that.
He held the title for nearly 3 years.
Like, if you're essentially working for a title, you're going to work for 3, 4, 5 years to get a shot at it?
Bruno Sammartino, 1,237 days. Hulk Hogan, 1,474 days. Bob Backlund, 2,135 days.
Whoa.
Bruno Sammartino, 2,803 days. Which, by the way, if you combine his 2 title reigns at 4,040 days, he has held the title for literally 11 years.
That's insane.
And finally, in a title reign that will never, ever, ever be matched or beaten, and quite frankly, because the title kind of went not away, but it certainly wasn't around. The Fabulous Moolah, 10,170 days.
That's because she was fabulous and she had puppies.
from September 1956 to July 1984.
Woof.
It was because of the puppies.
Very well could be. But, yeah, long title reigns are definitely not unheard of. And a lot of it had to do with...
Becky's had hers for a year now.
Yeah.
There was somebody else I just saw that had a fairly long run.
Shayna?
Maybe?
Asuka had a long run, undefeated streak.
It might have been Asuka.
Asuka's undefeated streak was longer than Goldberg's. Let that sink in for a second. But it certainly didn't get the fanfare that Goldberg got. And of course, as soon as she got called up, they made her lose.
It's crazy.
Okay, so that was WrestleMania Night 2. This has been the Backstage Slam episode number 186.5. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up as we hit the 1 hour, 17-minute mark. Hopefully, we gave you some good things to think over when it comes to Night 1 and Night 2 of WrestleMania. Hopefully, you listened to both shows. Right now, you can always find me on Twitter at SkidComic. Please visit our Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can help make all of our dreams come true at the Backstage Slam. You know, little things that'll help really improve our broadcasting abilities. And join the conversation. Head to our Discord, YoBroMMO. And because he's not here, doesn't mean he's not in our hearts. You can follow Ben on Twitter at YoBroMMO and look out for his live streams where he plays video games on Twitch and talks about all sorts of other stuff. As for all of you fancy Semicore Studios listeners, I think you're going to be hearing a couple of these ladies' voices more often in the future. Whether they
P.S. I want predictions. Nah, 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 nah. Nah, 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 nah.
You know my head is hanging right now, right?
Yes, but I had to put it out there. I won, bitches.
I don't think the season's over, though, so...
I can still beat you. I think you're like 7 behind. That title will be mine.
There's time. Anna, where can people find you on Twitter?
Catwoman13618.
I don't want to be judgmental, but you should probably change that.
I've had it since I was like 13.
Oh, okay. So, Catwoman
3618.
1361, okay. I did give you a follow earlier today. Maybe you saw that.
I haven't done anything in a week, Josh. Let me go look.
Yeah, I know. Well, I gave you a follow. Everybody out there should give Anna a follow. Amber, I know you don't do the Twitters. Hopefully that'll change sometime in the future. It's definitely the best way to reach out and smack someone corporately.
That's what I have you for, hon.
Okay, I can lay down the smack of down on your corporate enemies. I don't have a problem with that. In the meantime, don't forget to join us each and every week as we talk about wrestling right here on the Backstage Slam. Until next time, I'm Josh. That's Amber. That's Anna. And all I got left to say is, too sweet.
Good night.